riverboat.
cruise. Yeah, we're on the riverboat.
On the River Thames.
That's right.
That runs through London.
On board the boat. We're just leaving Westminster Pier, and we're going to cross the river, take you to the London Eye. We then continue on our cruise. We go in this direction, down the river to Tower Pier and Greenwich. Just moving out of the way, and he's going to turn his boat off to starboard. It's been a lovely day in London. Is everybody happy on the boat? Lots of places of interest as we go down through the city of London. It points out a few things, and it does a lot of company advertising. On some of our boats, we like to offer a live commentary. Would anybody like a live commentary as we go down through the city?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, a few of you will. We'll start to the left. Off to the left, we often get asked about this building. Behind the trees, there's a building with lots of flags on the roof. This is the Ministry of Defence. They say there is more of that building below the ground than above the ground. So they have hidden tunnels, secret chambers, and they connect to the Parliament building, Buckingham Palace, and there's a new nightclub in London. It's called 10 Downing Street. If you've heard of it, it's more of a wine bar really. And this is the VIP entrance into the wine bar, the secret cheese and wine party. Off to the left, somebody was asking me about this building at Westminster. Behind the trees again, the building that looks a bit like Dracula's castle. This is Whitehall Court Mansion, home to the 5-star Horse Guards Hotel, the Winston Churchill Wartime Office, the Winston Churchill Wartime Rooms. It's inside the building. And our first bridge, we're going to take you underneath. Charing Cross is the railway, and then on both sides, the Golden Jubilee walkways. You can see people walking across, and the high tide means we're very close. Give the people a wave on your first bridge, and if you get a wave back, it's said to bring you luck. All right, so we'll get their attention for you. There you go. Give them a little wave and a smile.
Nobody's leaving us.
The Golden Jubilee walkway is placed here to celebrate the Queen's 50th year on the throne, her Golden Jubilee. There is another walkway on the other side, so if there's anybody up there, give them a little wave and a smile. Some people wave and smile. Don't worry if they don't wave back. All right, that just means they're from London. If they don't wave back, it's miserable people. Bad day at work, maybe. Standing on the river's wall, the stone column of Cleopatra's Needle, said to be over 3,500 years old, the oldest thing you'll see on the river, and the best view from here. Look, you can see the coaches parked on the roadside. It's blocked by the trees from the other side, so make the most of a nice picture. At the bottom, there is a mistake. I don't know if you spotted it. The two sphinx at the bottom, they're facing the wrong way. They should be facing away, so they should be guarding the needle as opposed to looking at it. A very famous hotel is on the left, the 5-star Savoy Hotel, and that's the building with a flat green roof. They have a single flagpole, the Savoy. If you'd like to stay in this hotel on New Year's Eve, it's a great place to watch the fireworks at the London Eye. They charge for one night £10,000 on New Year's Eve. Included in the price is a full English breakfast in the morning. That's about it. Well worth the money, isn't it? And this is Waterloo Bridge. We're going underneath. We call it the Ladies' Bridge here in London. It was built by women, built during the Second World War. So whilst men were fighting during the war, the ladies back home, they were in charge of a lot of the construction, a lot of the laborious jobs. The Ladies' Bridge. Right on the south bank, the building behind the trees with the flashing advertisement, the Royal National Theatre. That building has been voted every single year to be the ugliest building in London. I mean, it's not very nice to look at, but 3 of the best theatres in the country, they're inside the National. Also to the right, the building with the scaffolding around the base of it, the tower, and then there's a studio out the front of it. The filming studios for Channel 3. So that's ITV on your television here in London. And this is it's known together as a Kent House. And this is where they film a lot of the famous morning programmes, the ITV News, and they use this part of the river we're travelling through as their backdrop. So you never know, we might be on live television as we go by. So you can give them a little wave if you like, you never know. The yellow funnel, the HQS Wellington. If you look to the stern end of the ship, where the red flag is, behind that, a stone archway. And this is Temple Arch, the western boundary line to the City of London. So we're leaving Westminster as we speak. We're entering the 1 square mile City of London. This is the western boundary line, and Tower Bridge marks the east. There's a red brick building on the roof, the glass box, the Oxo Tower Restaurant, owned by Harvey Nichols, is being voted one of the top 10 restaurants here in London. It's illegal to advertise on the river. The Oxo company, they were taken to court and they stated it was only by chance when they had their windows put in, it just so happened to spell out the name of their product. That's what they said. The judge went in their favour and they've had free advertising for over 60 years here on the river. To the right, this is a very new apartment complex. Inside that glass building with the curved edge, it's all apartments really, and they were selling them through the pandemic. They started the price £2 million. They go upwards right at the top, £25 million. And they stand on the approach road to the Blackfriars Bridges. So the address is number 1 Blackfriars. And you can see the bridge ahead of us, we're using the centre arch. Now, this is quite a low boat comparatively, and we're still using the centres. We're supposed to use the arch that the tug went through with the yellow containers. It's too low for us on high tide. So we're taking you through the centre, which is roughly a metre higher than the number 4 arch. Plenty of clearance in theory, but it is, as you can see very clearly, you get reasonably close on high tide, even on a very low boat like this one. Part of our discipline, our profession here on the river, we serve a 7-year apprenticeship, and our local knowledge extends to all of these bridges, the heights. We constantly monitor the tide, and of course we know the height of the boat. A simple calculation, and you can figure it all out. And at left and right of us now, these red pillars, the remains of the first railway bridge in London. They removed the top half. It was sinking into the mud. The new trains, they were too heavy, the modern trains, so they disused the original railway. This is the new railway bridge we're going underneath, and the train station is on top of the bridge. Constructed for the 2012 Olympics, they predicted thousands of people would rush into London via that train station. And it used to be, you can see to the right, a tiny little station in the corner. So they spent £500 million extending it over the railway. And that was for the 2012 Olympics. They had the grand opening of the new station in 2013. All right, so it was a little bit too late. The yellow containers. If the wind is flowing in the wrong direction, you might smell it. This is London's rubbish. Household waste. Most of our rubbish, it's towed via the river. So on high tide like now, the tugs, they come along and they tow the rubbish out of London. All of London's rubbish, it's towed down the river to a place called Essex. To the left, follow this bridge to the left, through the gap of the buildings, a great view. My favourite building in London, St Paul's Cathedral. Unfortunately, the bridge, it nearly blocks out the best view completely. You can just about see a full-size view. 365 feet tall. St Paul's Cathedral took 35 years to build, finished in 1710. And if you look to the right, Sir Christopher Wren's old house. That's the white tall building with a red front door. This is where Sir Christopher Wren lived for 35 years to oversee the construction of St Paul's Cathedral. And for any Shakespeare fans, if you stay to the right, the white circular building with a timber frame and a thatched roof, a replica to William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. You can go inside that building today, watch one of Shakespeare's famous plays acted out in a traditional way. It's great value for money. As we go through this bridge, if you stay looking ahead of the boat to the right, we have a very old and famous riverside pub. The Anchor, and it has red window frames. It's over 400 years old. A very popular place to visit for a drink, overlooking the river on a nice sunny afternoon. I'd recommend it. Go for a walk on the south bank. When you leave the boat at Tower Pier, if you walk across Tower Bridge, you can walk along the Thames path all the way to the London Eye. The same journey that we take, you can walk here. And you can stop off at the Eastern Europe is up to the right. The Shard, over 1,000 feet high. Offices, a casino, the Shangri-La Hotel. They have the tallest viewing platform in London. It's nearly twice as high as the London Eye. On the 72nd floor, so it's called The View. 12 apartments inside as well. The penthouse apartment in the Shard, this one costs £48 million. And the bridge ahead of us, this is London Bridge. So we're now approaching London Bridge. The name is actually carved into the stonework. On both sides, left and right, you see the name is written. It's quite boring to look at the bridge, not very interesting to look at, but it's more the history that makes it famous. There's been a bridge to stand here, in 2,000 years since the Roman times of London, and this one was opened in 1973. Behind the blue glass building, there's a building with a white frame and a curved roof. If you look to the top, you can see it's quite busy up there this afternoon. People on the glass balcony. This is known as the Sky Garden. It stands 100 feet taller than the London Eye. They have a rooftop garden. There's a couple of restaurants inside, and there's a open air viewing platform. The warship we're approaching, here to the right, the HMS Belfast. You can see she's permanently stationed on her anchor chains, a floating extension to the Imperial War Museum. Now she has 9 decks to explore. You can see there's somebody standing right at the top, the captain's bridge, right down to the engine rooms, 9 decks. A nice place for the kids, so you can take the children on there. There's lots of ladders to climb along the way. There's not many places. Make sure you get the buses in the picture, because we time it for these buses every afternoon. We do that. Just for your pictures. And they've stopped in traffic as well. There you go, a traffic chat. No, joking aside, thank you very much for coming out. Thank you for listening. What with everything that's happening at the moment, have a safe onward bound journey. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. This is Wandering World once again, and see you on our next adventure. So don't forget to like, share, comment down below, and hit the notification bell for our next adventure. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye, guys.